So this is my ridden viewing on Buddy, and we went there, and the person had said to us that he'd been sort of overschooled, and he'd gone very dull to the leg unless there was a jump out, and even then he would sometimes put a refusal in and things like that. And we bought him knowing that, because at the time we only had a paddock for riding, and we thought it would be perfect for him to give him a bit of a change of scenery. You know, schooling in like a overgrown grassy paddock with lots going on, it felt like the most suitable thing for him and for me to get my confidence up on something that needed to have leg on, as the horse that I'd been riding was very like pulley. I don't know how else to say it, but yeah, very forward going. And yeah, we were really, really impressed with how Buddy went for his price. And yeah, we brought him home. And this is an arena about 2-minute hack up the road from us. Because the ground had gone so boggy, we bought him in the winter. I took him up here twice a week just to get over some poles and some jumps until the ground would sort of let up, if that makes sense. So yeah, as you can see from this video, this is me trying to get him into canter. He was very behind the leg, and I wasn't a particularly experienced rider on bringing on anything to get any bad habits out. So there was definitely a couple of bits where we did struggle. But yeah, I jumped him in this arena a couple of times. And he was very good, actually. I really liked how he went in this arena, considering that he was so behind the leg a lot of the time. So these are the videos from him jumping at home, like in the paddock, and as you can see, he's definitely loving it. But obviously we could only jump if the ground was permitting it. But every single time he went well in there. So then after a little while, it was about 2 months, I decided to take him to his first arena hire, just to like do a full course jump, see what he's like with that. And the arena was quite big, and he was actually really forward going for the first time, so me and Mum were both quite excited about this, and he, you know, didn't give anything a second look, so I was really pleased. Took him to his first show, and it was a bit different. Obviously I rode a bit nervously because it was the first show, and we ended up getting eliminated in both of the classes that we went in, at different jumps, but I've only got this jump on record. So went back home, tried to get him over lots of fillers and different scary bits in the paddock, which obviously he went over first time every time, no matter how scary they were. Took him out to another show and dropped it down a class, a little bit lower, and he actually jumped really well, and we decided to take him to the arena that he'd schooled well at, and it was definitely a lot better, obviously not where I wanted to be, but a lot better. So took him out schooling to the place that he was not particularly great at, and he schooled really nicely. I mean, for a long time this was one of our best schooling sessions that I'd had on him. So after going for that arena high, I started to try and keep the heights up a little bit to where he should be at, and where I can keep learning. So we did this a lot at the local arena and at home. So I took him to another arena higher at a different place, tried to keep the jumps up a little bit higher and sort of start there. And he was really honest this day, and I was honestly really, really pleased with him. So this was our last arena hire before COVID hit. And then, as you can see, after sort of that period where we had to be in complete lockdown, we were very rusty. And then we went out to arena hire, and obviously the heights were a lot lower. But I was actually really pleased with how Buddy went, and he was really good for me. So we then went to another arena hire, and it all started going downhill from this point, really. And none of us could quite put our finger on why, but he just sort of lost his buzz, sort of gone to that sort of really behind the leg, didn't really want to jump. Just wasn't happy in the school at all. And then this is another day, and he was just, very, very unhappy indeed. And these are really small fences, and he was just not happy at all. And I'd never had sort of this amount of distress from him ever before. And we knew it wasn't the arena because he'd been there and been amazing before. So we then figured out during this time we had a change of farrier for a few reasons, and it actually ended up being that the farrier misunderstood Buddy's feet, as he had a couple of slight deficiencies with his feet, nothing major, but they would just crumble very easily. And long story short, they were cut back so much that they were pinching whenever Buddy left the ground. So after this point, when we realised what had gone on, we changed farrier again, and then gave Buddy a long time off. I think it was about 4 months off jumping. So this is our first jump back since he had time off, and I was really pleased with him. He felt a lot more comfortable. He was quite behind the leg, but he generally liked that in an indoor arena. But this was only 10 minutes from us, and it was brilliant to have when the weather was awful. So we did end up coming here quite a lot and having quite a lot of good jumping sessions for the winter and everything that we were doing. So during this time, I'd actually had a bit of a confidence knock in riding in the paddock, with the ground being so boggy, and it was so hard all that summer, and obviously with Buddy's feet, everything just sort of became a bit of a mission, and I'd lost my confidence a bit with jumping because of the bucks. I was struggling to ride at home because Buddy was nervous, I was nervous. So it was just about getting him out to an arena, and just both being comfortable with what we were doing. So we took the pressure off of doing loads of fillers and things like that, and just focused on having a good time in a school, which he really was. He was a good boy through all of these, actually. Just trying to build that confidence back up for both of us, really. So at this point, my confidence at home and, you know, going to jumping away from home had built up a little bit more, and Buddy's had definitely built up. He was starting to really enjoy it again, which was brilliant. And to be honest with you, for the first time, I'd started jumping him and he was pulling me to the fences, which wasn't even happening when we were having a good time when I first got Buddy. It was always leg on. And I really worked hard on his flat work through the whole time that his feet were sort of sore. And then this is our first ride in the new arena at home. It wasn't originally in the plan to have a school, but we ended up deciding on it for a couple of reasons. And then this is Buddy jumping at home, and as you can see, he's absolutely towing me all the way along. And again at Codham, we came first this day, and he was just pulling me so much. And the heights are small, but yeah, he was pulling me so much, which is a problem that I'd never had. I'd always ridden him in a snaffle, and yeah, I was just struggling to hold him so much here. And then this is a jumping session at home. We put the heights up, and this is where we discovered that Buddy would pull for the fences, and you'll see in a minute. He would pull me for the fences, and he started to use his moves that he had, which are these. Hang on. This, which I did come off with, he started to use that for excitement after he'd been over a big fence. 4 years has been very hard to cram into one video, so I am going to make this into 2 parts. Please watch out for part 2. I hope you enjoyed this video.